Welcome back to the podcast, History Buffs. I'm Hari.
And I'm Kimi. Today, we're traveling back to 1356 to explore one of the most audacious, devastating, and successful military operations of the Middle Ages, the Black Prince's chevauchée.
It's a tale of high-stakes raiding, medieval logistics, and a disastrous clash of kings. The war began in 1337 over French land disputes, but by 1356, things had been relatively quiet. Why was that, Kimi?
A truce was signed in 1347 as both sides were broke. Then, the Black Death swept Europe from 1347 to 1350, halting combat. Though minor clashes continued, full-scale war didn't resume until French King John II refused to ratify the Treaty of Brétigny.
With peace talks dead, both nations prepared for total war. England's prized possession was Gascony in southwest France. Remarkably, the taxes the English crown collected on Gascon wine imports were larger than all other English customs duties combined. It was their main financial engine, making Bordeaux wealthier than London.
Absolutely. Yet Edward could spare few resources. The Gascons were heavily pressed, fielding only 3,000 to 6,000 men. Fortunately, campaigns by Henry, Earl of Lancaster, in the 1340s pushed the fighting away from Gascony's heart. By 1355, Edward's eldest son, the Black Prince, arrived in Bordeaux to take command.
The prince immediately launched a chevauchée, a large-scale mounted raid designed to bypass heavy fortifications, burn the countryside, and ruin the French economy. His 1355 raid covered 675 miles to Narbonne and back. It captured no territory, but did immense damage. For 1356, they planned a triple-pronged offensive.
The plan was for Edward III to march from Calais, Lancaster from Brittany, and the Black Prince north from Bergerac, hoping to unite near the Loire. To fund this, the prince held a grand assembly, securing a tax of 1/15 on all Gascon movable goods. He gathered 6,000 highly mobile combat soldiers.
But plans rarely survive reality. The Black Prince gathered 6,000 combat men at Bergerac. Every single soldier was mounted, even the longbowmen, to maintain a blistering pace. They headed north on August 4, 1356.
They marched abreast in 3 divisions, covering a 50-mile wide path, allowing them to systematically loot and destroy the countryside, while remaining close enough to unite within a single day if attacked. It was brutal and highly sophisticated.
Meanwhile, King John was distracted, besieging the stronghold of Bretel in Normandy. He built a wooden siege tower, which French defenders burned. John eventually bribed them to leave. The prince reached Bourges, burning its suburbs, but summer high waters completely blocked the Loire. Lancaster also turned back, leaving the prince entirely on his own.
King John summoned a formal call to arms, the arrière-ban, but was so short of cash he couldn't pay his troops. In a bold move, John dismissed his poorly trained infantry, keeping an entirely mounted force of up to 16,000 men to match the prince's speed. He even had 200 elite Scottish knights.
So the Black Prince withdrew. A tense game of chess began. The prince wanted to fight on the tactical defensive. John wanted to cut off his retreat. In a bizarre twist of fate, the French army bypassed the English, accidentally positioning themselves directly between the prince and Gascony near Chauvigny, with neither side realizing it.
It was a complete surprise. On September 17th, the English vanguard stumbled upon the French rearguard near Chavigny-Levescoux. The French knights weren't even wearing helmets. The English easily routed them, capturing 3 counts. King John then drew up his massive army outside Poitiers for battle.
Before fighting, Cardinal Talleyrand spent a day negotiating. The prince was so concerned about his lack of water and food that he offered huge concessions, but French advisors, confident in their numbers, demanded unconditional surrender. John ordered the raising of the oriflamme, the sacred banner signaling no quarter, meaning no prisoners would be taken.
On September 19th, the Battle of Poitiers began. The prince held a strong defensive position. To provoke an attack, he moved his men across the French front, mimicking a retreat. The mounted French vanguard took the bait and charged, only to be utterly decimated by the longbowmen.
Then the Dauphin's 4,000 men-at-arms attacked. After a brutal, exhausting melee, they were repulsed. Seeing this, panic spread through the French ranks, and the Duke of Orleans' entire division fled the field, taking 3 of the king's sons with them.
King John bravely led the remaining force on foot. With his own men exhausted, the Black Prince ordered a general advance and sent a small force of 160 men to strike the French rear. Believing they were surrounded, the French ranks collapsed into chaos.
It was an absolute rout. King John and his youngest son, Philip, were captured. The French suffered what some sources estimate as up to 5,000 total casualties, though actual deaths were likely closer to 2,500 to 3,000, while Anglo-Gascon losses were incredibly light. The prince carefully marched his prisoners and vast booty back to Bordeaux, arriving to ecstatic celebrations. With King John in London, France dissolved into anarchy, worsened by a bloody peasant revolt called the Jacquerie. Multiple peace treaties were rejected by the French Dauphin. This forced Edward III to launch another devastating campaign in 1359, marching unopposed across northern France.
The turning point came near Chartres on Black Monday, when a severe hailstorm killed many English horses and soldiers. Taking this as a divine sign, Edward signed the Treaty of Brétigny in 1360. Edward gained full sovereignty over a third of France, and John's ransom was 3 million gold écus.
Although the war erupted again in 1369 and wouldn't end until a French victory in 1453, this campaign remains one of medieval history's most brilliant military feats. Thank you for listening to our journey through history. Have a wonderful and pleasant day.
This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Black Prince's Chevauchée of 1356, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.